Hi there, it's Carl Irwin, the Con Magician, and I've got something interesting to share with you. I've got a deck of cards here. I want you to think of any card. Think of any card at all that comes to mind. I've got the Queen of Spades. Queen of Spades is what you're thinking of. Imagine with this deck of cards that we take the Queen of Spades, we take it out, we turn it over, and we put it back in facing down. Can you see that? Can you see that in your mind's eye? If you take a look here at the deck, you can see what has actually happened. You can see that that's exactly what we have. We've got one card right here facing the wrong way out of all the cards in the deck. One card facing down while all the other cards are facing up. Very strange. And by the way, what was the card? What was the card that you said? What did you name? You named the Queen of Spades. That's it right there. So, invisible deck, right? Now, this is not really about teaching a trick. There's hundreds of variations of that particular method to do the invisible deck, and all of them are pretty good, actually. I find that the invisible deck is one of those tricks that magicians think too much like magicians when they're trying to find alternatives. Someone says, I want to do the invisible deck without the gimmick deck, and what we're really saying is we want it to look exactly like the gimmick deck. But I think that we misunderstand sometimes where the effect actually happens, and we overthink the alternatives when trying to do it non-gimmicked. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but I thought about the invisible deck, the ungimmick variation of it, in relationship to, or one of the many ungimmick variations of it, in relationship to the previous discussion about making excuses, creating excuses in the presentation to see the cards. This came to my mind because by virtue of the presentation itself, the actual presentation does this. It creates an excuse to look at the faces of the cards, right? The invisible deck actually does that for us. If I have a card facing the wrong way in the deck, and I don't even necessarily have to make this the plot. I don't really have to, but I could if I make it part of the plot that they name a card and let's whatever it is, 7 of diamonds, and I say we take the 7 of diamonds out and we turn it over and put it back in. What are they looking for when I go to spread this deck? What are they looking for? They're looking for a face down card. And the face down card right here, when this happens and they see that, this is what we're going to call, I'm going to give a name to this. I'm going to call this the no moment. The moment of no. Okay? And what I mean by that is I think as magicians, there's this moment in a presentation that we really, really have a hunger for, right? We really, really want to have that moment, I think, anytime we perform. If we can get a spectator to out loud, verbally say, no, in disbelief, to just verbalize their disbelief, it's the no moment, right? You know what I'm talking about. Those of you that have done tricks for spectators that are really into it, right? And they have that moment where they just realize they've been had and there's no going back, and they say, no, that can't be, right? In the invisible deck, we think about the no moment as magicians as being when we show the card, but that's not the moment. The moment's here. This is the no moment. Especially if you set it up. If you say there's a face down card in the deck, you spread and they see the face down card, they already kind of know what's coming. They know they named one. You said there's a face down card. This is the no moment. All of this to say that all of the attention, 100%, if not more than 100%, 100% of the attention is on that card right there. And absolutely 0% of the attention is on anything else in the deck. The deck is face up. That one is face down, all the attention is there. The 7 of diamonds could be here. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be because it was sitting that way, but I mean, no one is going to pay attention to anything else that is seen. And the only thing that is seen is an upside down indice, or maybe even just part of a card. It doesn't matter. No one's going to see the 7 of diamonds over here. They see that. The card of interest is a face down card. This is the no moment. And now I have an excuse to look at all the faces. Okay. I simply, just to make this more fair in the moment, 4 of spades. When I spread, I'm scanning immediately, and I caught it right away, right? I know it's there. I know it's there. I spread. The no moment is now. I push this out. I reach over. The no moment is in full effect. They're looking at that card. Nothing else matters. I reach over. I pick up the rest of the cards, and I obviously shift it to the top. I just push it to the top. I pick up underneath the 4 of spades to get it there, and now I'm ready for a reveal. I pick up the deck. This is on a table. I pick up the card and I say, only one card facing down. And you said what? And then they reiterate what it was. I reach over and then I do my double turn, which I did badly there. But I reach over and I do my double turnover. Now, quickly on the double turnover, this is the Jerks double turnover. I don't want to talk at great length about it. I've got a video a while back on double lifts and double turnovers and just my feeling on it, and I already addressed this. This is a really good one because it's full control. Not only is it good because it's full control, but this is actually how people turn cards over. When you give someone a deck of cards and you have them hold it in their hand and say, turn over the top card, they go like this. Always. They hardly ever do anything else. They probably will not deal the card off and try to turn it over, because this is actually strange to do it like that, right? They'll actually do it like that. This is how they will do it, okay? So the Jerks reasoned that, oh my goodness, if you do your turnover like that, all of a sudden the turnover is easy, right? You have your break already. I presented this out here. I have my break underneath the card. I can get ready. I don't have to, because when I do it this way, I actually can bevel and lift up 2 cards and just do it like that. And I believe that's how the Jerks talks about it. But I always like to get breaks. Even when I'm dealing like a single second, I'll get a break because I want it surefire. I want control. I show it out here. I get my break. I set it on top. I point at the spectator. Another thing about this, whenever you do this, top changes are kind of an elusive, slight. Magicians talk about how good someone's top change is. It's interesting because in this moment, for this kind of presentation, one criticism that magicians will have about doing Invisible Deck ungimmicked in this way is they'll complain about having to bring the card back to the top of the deck. But those same magicians will laud and just drool over someone's phenomenal top change, right? Sometimes you got to get the card back to the top of the deck, right? That's just part of manipulation. It's not a big deal. Nobody sees this as a problem. The no moment already happened. This was the no moment. The rest of this is gravy, okay? They know what's going on here. I gesture with it. I set it down on the top of the deck. I have an excuse in my mannerism as I point or gesture and I say, the card you named was what? They say what it was. I reach back, I turn it over, and I show the 4 of spades. I still have my break. I can reach back and turn it over, and I can cut it into the deck, and I'm already clean now, and I do that. Because the cleanup's easy. I don't have to do anything more extravagant than that. Okay, so anyway, that is just it. And all of this is just to address the fact that the Invisible Deck, ungimmicked Invisible Deck, inherently has a moment where I have an excuse to look at all the cards and get control. And it's even at the moment where I lay down the big no for the spectator. And once that's been done, I have a lot of freedom after that moment. Actually, there's a decompression right now for me to get control. Okay. How could this be done in the hands? Can it be done in the hands? Yes, actually. On my video download, The Magic Bullet, which is about the spread call, I talk about a way to do this with just a spread call, only a spread call. And I advise when I teach it that way, I say, now no one would really do that. You'd probably use a double turnover in the revelation, but you could do it with a couple of spread calls in sequence, right? The truth of the matter is you don't even need to do that. You don't even need to do that because of the fact that the no moment is when the card is shown face down. As long as they don't see anything that looks like turning a card over. Think about this for a moment with this trick. If the effect is that a card is going to be turned over, and if I present it, especially if I present it in such a way where I say I'm going to take the 8 of spades, slide it out invisibly and turn it over and put it back in, now they're looking for me to turn a card over. That's perfect because I'm never going to do it. That is the one thing I'm not going to do. I want them looking for that move because it's a move that's never going to come, right? I'm ahead on having the card turned over. It's not their card, but there's never going to be a turnover move. I want them looking for a turnover move. It allows me to do anything else because I'm never going to do that, okay? The way this looks in the hands is I can necktie this a little bit. I probably don't need to because they're going to be looking for a face down card, but I can necktie this a little bit so they don't have a good view. They're looking for a turnover, remember. I just slide off and I go until I see my 8 of spades. I don't see my 8 of spades. I come to the face down card and I show. There's one card that's face down and then I continue to go. And the no moment has already happened. They see this. Even though I am spreading the rest of the deck very shallow, looking for an 8 of spades, they don't care. The focus is here. They're looking, 0% of their focus is on the rest of the cards, at least not specifically. It may be on the fact in general, peripherally, that the cards are all face up, but not that one. But their attention is here, absolutely. I get to the 8 of spades, all I have to do is break at that card and keep it on the top. And I can do anything. I can gesture and say there's only one card facing the wrong way out of the entire deck, right? And I can just drop a couple groups on top. This is totally open. Again, what were they looking for? A turnover. What did I not do? A turnover. What did I do? I just spread some cards and I showed that a card was turned over, okay? I have it now. I can peel it out and then I can gesture forward as I turn the deck over. I can get my break. I can bring it back on. I can point at them and say, and you said the what? They say it again. I reach over and then I do my my double turnover and I show the card, right? 8 of spades and I put it back. So this can be done in the hands too, completely open, no slights, slight free entirely. Slight free entirely, really no slights at all. Even on the table shift, it's an open move, so it's not really a big slight. Okay, there's not really a slight involved in it. I'm not trying to do anything that's... I'm not trying to go like this and have a move happen. Some people work on a table shift to acquire that. We don't need to. We just don't need to. This is the revelation. That's the focus. I can go for anything. Okay, I just get it out of the way and I go for something over here. Okay, and I just pick up the cards and cut it, right? And now I've got my 7 of spades on the top. I have control because this is the focus. I don't need to be fast. I don't need to be slick and smooth. I also don't need to be a bumbling fool. I think that's no good too, right? When I go to do this, I can break quite openly. I don't want to do this. Okay, I need to be smooth enough. 8 of spades, where is it? Down there, okay? So I need to be smooth enough that I can just cut it and cut it to the top, okay? Without I just lift away and then I put it on top. That's how I do it, okay? Anyway, that's my thoughts on this. The excuse is in the invisible deck, having that card facing down, that's an excuse. What are other things that could accomplish this? You could have another card. You could have an off-color card, a wrong-backed card, a stranger card that has something to do with the effect. It has to play in some way. It could be a cut card, right? It could just be like an off-color cut card. I think I had some cut cards somewhere around here. I don't know where I put them. I don't have one right here. But it could be just a stranger card. Imagine this is a cut card, right? And I'm going to use it in some way. I could spread the deck, and then I use this in some other way, not related to a revelation. But it is the moment of focus, right? That's what they're looking at as I get control. It could be a double backer that's in there, right? That I'll use it as a double backer facing down. It's a face down card revelation, but I'm going to use the double backer quality to do some other kind of effect. But therein, I still have my excuse. I spread, focus is there. My focus is here. I get control. So just having excuses to look at the face, invisible deck, turnover kinds of card tricks, face down sorts of situations where you're turning a card over magically, that gets you that moment where you can do it. And the revelation is in the moment when the card is seen face down. Remember that. It's not later, it's then. If you're ever going to find a workable, non-gimmicked version of the invisible deck, keep that in mind. You want to offload your dirty work after you show the face down card. After the face down card is shown, you can do a whole lot, but you really can't do anything before that. Your move should not happen before that if you're going to try to sort out an ungimmicked variation. Okay? You want the move or whatever you're going to do to be after that moment. And you want that moment after to be pretty short. You want it to happen quickly. You don't want to have a lot of procedure and process and discussion. Once the card is shown face down, you need to get to business on whatever you do after it and do it very quickly so that you can show that card, swap it in some way or do whatever. Okay? Let's see, is there anything else to discuss on this? I think we covered it. I think we got it all in there. Oh, one thing, if you wanted to do this kind of in an impromptu way, the turnover part of it, I've covered this before. My favorite way to turn over a card wide in the open, again, you could cull it, but think about this for a moment. When is a cull not useful at all? A cull is not useful when the spectator has no interest in a card. Once a spectator names a card, I say think of a card, and they say the 8 of hearts, I need to do a cull. I really can't do much anything else. I would need to do a very burnable cull at this point if I was going to cull that card, okay? However, I think that's true in the most part. I might be able to do some open moves. I might, but I probably would need to cull in this moment, okay? However, if there's no card called and there's no interest that the spectator has in a particular card, the only interest in a card is the interest that I have. And they can't read my mind. They don't know what I'm doing, right? I look at the deck, I spread, I get to the card that I'm interested in, and I just cut it to the top as I spread through, and I've done it, okay? I don't need to call that Queen of Hearts. I just need to cut it to the top, right? I could have some kind of saying that I'm, using, saying the cards are completely shuffled up. Just to be sure, let's give them a shuffle, and then I could do more. But what I've done is I've cut it to the top, and then I take it back in biddle, and I just push it over so that I have a ledge, so I can grab that from underneath, and then I separate it from the cards, and I turn, and then I do an overhand shuffle. And all I'm going to do is sweep the rest of the deck, lift the rest of the deck over that card. It's buried in the hand. I come forward on it, and then I overhand shuffle fairly on top of that Queen of Hearts. Now the Queen is face up on the bottom, and then I lift up half of the deck, or rather I shuffle off half of the deck. And once I get halfway, I drop this on top. I used to do this whenever I would do this with a cull only for the invisible deck. I would try to get that Queen kind of closer to the top, so that when I turn the deck over, I'm going through most of the deck before I get to the Queen. But actually, if you're going to be doing open moves, I think you want it to be pretty central. I think you want it to be pretty central, especially if you're doing that, because their automatic attention is going to come to the middle of the deck anyway. And if they find what they're looking for at the middle of the deck, that's even more powerful. If it's offset somewhere, it makes them scan around, and we don't want them scanning around. We want them to go right to the focal point, right in the middle. Okay. In the hands too, I think it really doesn't matter. I can necktie six of clubs. I can necktie until I get my card, and then I can drop cards on, and then I get to the top. This is a good way to handle it too. I've put it to the top. Once I get to the card that's face up, I could actually just drop all of this on top of the deck, and now I've got the face down card sitting on this side as a focus with my other card on the other side of the deck. Now I can collect this, I can pick it up, turn the deck over, right, as I gesture with it, bring it back. I've got my break underneath. I have them name it. They say the six of clubs. I say, no kidding, because the face down card is the six of clubs. Done, okay? But anyway, I can be quite open and just kind of organize cards. Remember, they're looking for a turnover move that's never going to happen. Long-winded. A lot of things to talk about. I didn't really mean to teach a variation on this so in depth. I really just wanted to make this one point. I just wanted to talk about that and that it gets us an excuse. But hey, long-winded. Maybe you got something out of it. Good luck with that. Happy Magic Game.